Welcome in, Let's Talk Sports. How's it going? We're here with Trent. He has a Mean Wolverine YouTube channel that he's starting. And then I got my Let's Talk Sports, and they were kind of merging together. And as the season progresses, we're going to be doing Ohio State and Michigan. And we have some topics of conversation today. And I don't know if you want to say hello. Hello, Trent. He's down in Florida.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. I know you're like an established podcast now. I'm just getting started here, so I appreciate you bringing me on. Hopefully we have some fun today.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But you ready to get into some comments, or we're ready to get into some stats and facts and all this stuff? I'm not used to having a rundown list.
I know. It's legit.
You get some rundown list.
Yeah, let's start in with Notre Dame and Navy.
Check it out. It's on the ticker.
So I'll just start with. So they played in Dublin. Were you able to watch the game? Did you watch the game at all, like live?
I watched about a quarter of it, probably the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter. But yeah, I think it was on NBC or something like that. So yeah. Yeah,
I mean, they smoked them. It was like 42-3. And then, So one thing that I looked up about this, because I was kind of wondering, like the Dublin thing, was it like a one-off thing or whatever? So I looked into it. So it's, I guess they're like trying to bring in tourism, so that it's called the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. So Aer Lingus is actually an airline that flies into Ireland. And so they actually have another game scheduled for next year, which is Georgia Tech versus Florida State. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because I just thought they were doing it like this one game, but I guess they're setting up a bunch of games to be played over there.
Yeah, I read the podcast I listened to daily. They were talking about that. They were actually out there in Dublin. I won't name them, but they were talking about how they actually had like what was that? The commissioner or something like that of Ireland was on there, and they were asking questions about it. They did mention that, and they're trying to bring as many colleges out there to Ireland. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
if they gave us tickets too, that'd be nice if they gave us tickets.
I thought it was. Yeah. Well, I decided. I mean, it's just a neat idea, because it's like, obviously with football, like a lot of people like drinking. Ireland, it's like, you could drink there and have a good time and go see like a lot of stuff. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. I wanted to bring up too, while we were talking about Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, your Ohio State boy. Now the head coach of Notre Dame. Yeah, how do you feel about him?
I don't really know much about him, but I guess I don't know. I don't care that he went to Notre Dame. They're trying to turn that program around. I don't know if are they still independent, or are they gone into a conference now? Do you know?
Yeah,
still independent.
Yeah, still.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to make them.
Yeah, I wonder, after all this consolidation of these big conferences, if Notre Dame's going to be forced at some point to have to join one of them, just
That's
because there's only so many slots for the playoffs, and if the conferences get so big that these conferences are just almost playing all in conference games, then it's like, who's Notre Dame going to play, because they can't schedule games like they have scheduled right now.
Right.
We can start in. I got the Ohio State ticker going now.
All right, so moving on to Ohio State. The Ohio State Buckeyes are taking on Indiana Hoosiers in Bloomington, Indiana. I guess I'll kind of take over this one. I don't want to get into Coach Day yet, but that's another topic of right here in this Ohio State. So they're taking on Indiana in Indiana. They're favored by 30. We'll start getting into more the spread and all that stuff later on in the show with different teams. But we'll stick with Ohio State. Supposedly they're first in the Big Ten. They're ranked third overall, I think right behind Michigan. So what is it? Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State. We play, 3:30 on CBS. So that's pretty cool. And I'm just thinking, I don't know if I would put money on the 30 though. I mean, I have, like, with the top players, talking about top players and stuff, Kyle McCord's getting a start. Fun fact, I just found this out. So Kyle McCord, Marvin Harrison Jr. played the same high school out in Philadelphia. So it was like a prep school or whatever it was. So that was, I don't know if they actually played together, but I think Harrison Jr. was a year ahead of him. So that might be the only reason why he's starting in the game. But I think that Coach Day is going to swap both the quarterbacks out, Devin Brown and Kyle McCord. So they'll probably just have to prove themselves, which I watched Coach Day's press conferences, which that's what he said in his press conference, basically saying that they need to both prove themselves. Whoever gets the starting job, it's going to be a competition, and whoever plays well gets the start. So they're going to be bouncing back and forth with them. But for the top players, on the defensive side, I like Tommy Eichenberg. I'm definitely picking him. He is a captain, by the way, on the defense. And then on the offensive side, I want to go Marvin Harrison Jr. And probably if McCord and Harrison Jr. can connect, it's going to be a tandem for this season. So that's the top players that I'm picking. And then Cade Stover on the tight end side. Cade Stover, I think he's a senior now. He's staying, and he's going to be a beast. I'm looking for him to be a top prospect in the NFL draft. So that's my players. And then, like we said, I was talking about Ryan Day. Hot seat, I talk about that a lot. If you're friends with me on LinkedIn and connected with me, you'll see that. I even had a coach's poll in LinkedIn asking, what do you guys think about Ryan Day? Is he on the hot seat? Is he getting fired after this season? If he loses in Michigan again, is he going to be gone? I mean, technically, he has a good record overall at Ohio State, but those wins early came in 2019, the 2020, the COVID year. Those are all on the coattails of Urban Meyer, and he hasn't really done anything after the COVID years, and they've lost every game against Michigan. And the only really thing he's done, he got the Sugar Bowl. We went back-to-back Big Ten champions in 2019, 2020, but that's, again, the Sugar Bowl in 2020 and the Rose Bowl in 2021. That's off the coattails of Urban Meyer. He really hasn't, honestly, I mean, hopefully people can prove me wrong. I'm kind of a skeptic and a realist, and I don't think he's going to be but I don't know. He has to win I'm telling you, he has to win every single game. He's going to have to shut out Ohio State players or Ohio State fans like me. You have to win every single game and win the championship. And then he's pretty much solidified his coaching at Ohio State for a long time.
Now you guys have – so who's the quarterback that – so you have a couple quarterbacks that could be potentially the starter this year, right?
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and roll Kyle McCord out in Indiana and see how he does. They might even just do maybe a series or two and then bring in Devin Brown. So okay. I don't really know much about Devin Brown. Apparently, I guess he's more mobile. Kyle McCord, I think, is more of a pocket passer. So they might switch back and forth, almost like when Drew Brees and then, what was that, Taysom Hill, when they would switch them out, and Taysom Hill was the runner and could do everything. So I think Devin Brown's like that.
Now, so Ryan Day this year, if he loses to Michigan again, what do you think happens? Do you think they'd actually get rid of him, or what do you think's going to happen?
To me, it's all up to what coaches are out there to get. I mean, I don't think the Ohio State alumni and the Ohio State Commission and the committee will get rid of him this year. I mean, they held on to Harbaugh for a while when he was doing bad up there, and look what happened now. So they turned the program around. It does take time to turn a program around, and some of these colleges and NFL teams, they don't realize that. It takes time, but he's had time. This is his sixth year or something like that at Ohio State. I mean, and this is pretty much, I mean, I'm going to go over the season here, the schedule. He's got at Indiana, which is they always play us tough for some reason. And Youngstown State, Western Kentucky. These are on Fox, CBS, Big Ten Network, Fox. And then at Notre Dame is going to be a highlight for me. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there. Those are after
the Notre Dame game, and then all the way up to the Michigan game. Do they have any big games between them?
It's all Big Ten matchups, but Penn State and Wisconsin. It's at Penn State at home. on the 21st, 10/21, which is October 21st, and then at Wisconsin, which they're 19th. And I don't know much about Wisconsin's team this year because they haven't really been that great, but now they're ranked at 19th. So I don't know. Let me go at Rutgers, and then Michigan State, and then Minnesota, and then we play you guys at the last one, and then we go up to Ann Arbor for that one. But we have to win every single game. That's all I'm saying. I think we have to win every single game. Now, there might be a loss in one of those games with that Notre Dame. That Notre Dame, Penn State, and Michigan are probably the three key matchups for me at least.
Oh, definitely.
But the way Notre Dame looked against Navy, they look like a freaking powerhouse. So who knows? But they always do that.
Yeah, I just noticed too when you mentioned. So you said Ohio State's going to be at Penn State, right?
No, they're home against Penn State.
Oh, at home. At home. Okay.
We're at home.
Okay.
Ohio State's at home, so that's nice.
Okay.
You guys are going to Happy Valley. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. But now, what do you think if Ryan Day loses this year to Michigan, then Jim Harbaugh cuts out and leaves? Do you think that buys Ryan Day a little bit more time because then they say, oh shit, well, Jim Harbaugh's gone anyway?
I don't know. To me, I'm kind of a hard ass on this. I'm a hard ass. I'm old school. If you lose to Michigan, you're gone. I don't care what your record is. That's how I am. You can go 10-1, 11-1 every single year, and you lose to Michigan 3 years in a row. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. I would get rid of them. But I've talked before air and stuff, who you're going to get. I mean, I don't know who you're going to get, who you're going to, like some big name. I would take Luke Fickell, but he just signed. He's up in, Wisconsin or something.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I know about Wisconsin is Luke Fickell as the head coach. But I'll take Luke Fickell to heartbeat over Ryan Day. He did a really good job in this year.
Yeah, it's true. All right, that's good.
Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, so Michigan football, baby, we're back. I think that this year is probably going to be our best year, maybe in my whole life. It's, we have JJ McCarthy. You need a strong quarterback to win games. We've seen that because under Harbaugh, we only have mediocre quarterbacks all the way up till JJ McCarthy. For a while there, we thought Shea Patterson was going to be good. He didn't end up turning out that great. Cade McNamara, past couple years, he was decent, but just wasn't a game changer, more of like a manager, if anything. But we have JJ McCarthy now, who last year showed he can play. This year he's going to be even better. And then also you have Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, both as running backs, both returning, could have both gone pro, and would have been high picks, but they're both coming back. I mean, Blake Corum's obviously a really good running back, but with Donovan Edwards, you almost have like a wide receiver in the backfield. He just like adds that like extra kind of dynamic to your offense where he could take off. And if a linebacker's trying to cover him, the linebacker can't. There's no linebacker in America that can cover Donovan Edwards. So, we have that. I think the one thing that I'm a little bit worried about is our wide receivers. Unlike Ohio State, we don't have that wide receiver base like you guys have. But yeah, it's a solid team. I'm really excited about that. Any comments about Michigan's roster from you?
Not really. I know I saw you at Blake Corum's up there on the Heisman list, but we'll talk about that. The only thing that I have, how much more do you have on that?
Well, I'll continue into like Michigan's football schedule this year. Okay. I just didn't know if you wanted to make any comments about the fucking roster.
No, I don't even know anybody over there. JJ McCarthy, who knows what's going to happen? But I read the podcast I listened to. They do talk about how Michigan is built to beat Ohio State, but Ohio State is built to be a national champion. So it's like you guys put a hole in our wheels there.
Yeah, and that's that's kind of the thing that I'm worried about is like, we're having these tremendous seasons. We beat Ohio State, but then we go to playoffs and we get smoked. It's like like whoever said that they're exactly right. I mean, we're built to beat Ohio State, but then as soon as we go up against a TCU, we get smoked. It's like it's crazy. But no, I think this year Harbaugh's really geared up this team. I feel like he's got them amped up. In my opinion, this probably is going to be his last year, especially if they go on a really solid run and at least make it to the national championship. Honestly, I think even if they didn't go on a run, this is probably going to be his last year. He knows this is the best team he can come up with. This is his time to win it and, ride off into the sunset. If he ends up winning a national championship, then, the whole thing comes full circle. I don't even think, Bo didn't even have a national championship, Bo Schembechler, which is, his hero. So I think if he notches that, if he can do that, then basically there's nothing left for Harbaugh to do at Michigan, and he'll just go to the pros. I wanted to mention too, Michigan's football season this year. Literally, we have, I'll just run through the teams. Eastern Carolina, which we should absolutely demolish them. UNLV, obviously another game that we should just roll through them. Bowling Green, Rutgers, Nebraska, which I think they just lost already. Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan State, which that's always a game for us, even if they're not ranked or anything. Purdue, another non-game. Penn State, which will be tough because it's at Penn State. Maryland, and then Ohio State. So literally every game on there, I would guess this year, besides Michigan State, Penn State, and Ohio State, I think we should be favored by at least 20 points in every one of those games. So this is going to be the season. Like if he could go on a roll, this is going to be the season. So
you guys, I don't even know how many players you had brought back from last year. So that's a big key. I think you guys had the most in the country of players.
We were up there. I think there was only one team, I think like Florida State or somebody like that is not even, I don't even think they're ranked or anything, but or maybe they're actually, Florida State is ranked this year. I take that back. But I think there's only one or two teams above us with the amount of returning starters. And I don't think anybody can compare to like, McCarthy, Blake Corum, and Edwards all coming back in the backfield. Like it's crazy. And then also the offensive line, I think we returned like 3 or 4 starters on the offensive line that just won the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line in the country 2 times in a row now, potentially now for the 3rd time. And then our defense, we returned a ton of starters on our defense. So I think this is going to be a good year. And honestly, if Harbaugh can win us a national championship, I'm not going to be mad if he leaves. I get it. So, and I think at this point he's kind of sick of the NCAA anyway, and he just wants to move back into the pros.
Yeah, that was well said. Yeah, I don't know who you guys would get to like once he leaves, but he's choosing to leave, so that Ryan Day is going to be on the hot seat, and Harbaugh might just be like, I did what I wanted to do, be above and beyond, and I'm going back to NFL. But yeah, I don't know.
Right.
So what's your toughest matchup, you think, besides Ohio State?
Penn State. Always going into Penn State's tough, but honestly, Michigan State, man, Michigan State always has our number. They could be literally one of the worst teams in the country, and they always put up a game against us. So we can never overlook Michigan State, but definitely in order, it's Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan State is our toughest games, with obviously Ohio State's going to be the toughest one. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to go with Heisman?
Yeah. Let's get into the Heisman hopefuls here.
Because I got a nice little list over here on the laptop, and I don't know who I would pick, but obviously, I can go over stats and stuff with you. But Caleb Williams, the only other player, that's ever won 2 Heismans, there's only one player that's ever done it, and that's Archie Griffin. So that came with Ohio State. But Caleb Williams has the possibility of doing that. I mean, over 4,500 passing yards last year, 42-5 TD interception ratio, 88% QBR rating, 67% completion percentage. If he can match that again, do you think he ought to do 2 Heismans?
I mean, I think if of all the years where the Heisman winner has returned for another season, I think this is probably the closest, and that I can remember of saying like he has a really good shot at winning it again. That'd be interesting to see if, it could be done again. Archie Griffin, when was the last one that he won? When was that? Like the 70s?
Back in the 70s, probably, yeah. A long time ago.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see it. I think that'd be a good storyline to follow. And I looking at the lists of like who they say is the Heisman hopefuls, I don't really see anybody, as good as Caleb Williams. Barring USC losing a bunch of games, I think he wins it again this year. I will say one that I always think is so funny is Joe Milton gets brought up all the time, the Tennessee quarterback.
Yeah.
And so he played at Michigan and then transferred, but man, he's horrible. I'm just telling you, man. Everybody always hypes him up in the off season because he's a huge dude. He can throw really far, but man, he just makes bad decisions. And I just always think it's so funny. People always have him in these talks of like, oh yeah, Joe Milton could do it. No, he can't. Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah. Well, I'll just run down the list here that I got top 8 that are in the early leader watchers, Heisman watchers right now. Obviously, Caleb Williams at 1, Michael Penix Jr. I think he played at Indiana. Didn't he play in Indiana?
Yeah,
Michael
I think
Penix
so.
Jr.? Is that right? And then he transferred over to Washington. Jordan Travis,
I'll look it up while you're going through the rest.
So Jordan Travis, you brought up Florida State. He's up there at number 3 projected. Jaden Daniels, LSU, and then Blake Corum sitting at 5. And then I'll give you some stats here because he has 1,543 scrimmage yards for Blake Corum, running back at Michigan, like you were just talking about. I'm just giving you some stats from last season. 19 total touchdowns, 5.9 yards per carry, and 6 yards per touch. And the little sleeper pick that I like from North Carolina is Drake May. For some reason, he sticks out to me this year. I'm not sure why, but last year he almost has comparable to Caleb Williams. And he has, listen here, Caleb Williams, 4,500, Drake May, 4,300 passing yards, 38-7 TD interception ratio. 42-5 is a lot better, but it's close. 82 QBR, 66% completion. It's really Caleb Williams and Drake May have really similar styles and stats from last season. And I didn't even hear Drake May. I don't know. But then there's Sam Hartman from Notre Dame. We saw what he did against Navy, beasting it up. And then that Bo Nix. I secretly like Bo Nix, but he didn't do anything. He hasn't been showing me anything. He's hit and miss. But that's the top 8 that's on my list here on the Heisman list.
Yeah.
So we went through the top 8 on my list, on this Heisman list here. So we're going to just go ahead and do the Heisman Trophy odds. So there's some other players on here that's not even mentioned. This is according to FanDuel, though. So these are Heisman Trophy odds. Obviously, Caleb Williams is favorite at plus 500. And I'm just going to do the top 5. And I have something to say about Texas, but here you go. Here's Caleb Williams, plus 500. Number 2 is Jaden Daniels from LSU at plus 1,000. Number 3 is Jordan Travis at Florida State. We already said that. He's at plus 1,200. Now, the surprise one here to me is Texas with Quinn Ewers, former third-string quarterback at Ohio State that got $1 million, and Ohio State sitting on the bench riding the pine. You're welcome. Goes back to Texas, and now he might be in a battle with Arch Manning as a true freshman. Arch Manning coming in. It could be battling out between these two, as I read an article earlier today about how Quinn Ewers might not be the starting quarterback at Texas starting this season. I don't know. I was wanting to get your take on that as well.
I think it's nuts that he's ranked so high for the Heisman candidates when, I mean, potentially he might not even be a starter, a couple weeks in. I think that's nuts. Yeah.
He's at the same odds with Jordan Travis for Florida State quarterback at plus 1,200. And I don't even know who this number 5 is. Have you ever heard of Cade Klubnik at Clemson?
No, I don't know that.
I've never heard either. He's at number 5. And now this is I want to say this again. This is according to FanDuel. This is the FanDuel Heisman Watch list. Bo Nix is still now on the other list that I had on the top of this website. Bo Nix is still sitting at 8. J.J. McCarthy tops out at 7 at plus 1,800. And then Michael Penix Jr. is right above J.J. McCarthy at plus 1,600. But here's Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen to this. I'm surprised at this. So they actually have Kyle McCord above Marvin Harrison Jr. Kyle McCord's at 14 at plus 2,500, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is at plus 3,000. And Kyle McCord's going to be switching off and on with Devin Brown. I don't know. Carson Beck from Georgia. I don't know him. He must be new. Was he in a transfer forward?
Yeah, he must be. Yeah, Now with Marvin Harrison, I mean, obviously, I do think Marvin Harrison's probably like the best wide receiver out there. But, I mean, it was the last one to win it was Devontae Smith at wide receiver won the Heisman. I don't know.
Devontae Smith. That wasn't that long ago. Was that Alabama? That was Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama.
And he went to Philly?
Yeah, and I mean, I think, having it's Caleb Williams to lose, basically. Like, if he can have a decent season, I feel like people are going to be rooting for him to get it again.
Yeah. I think so, too. But I would like to see the battle in Texas with Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning, because I'd almost give it to Arch Manning because what happened to Quinn Ewers last season, he didn't do very well. Here's a lot of little different. I don't even know what this list is. There's different lists. Early list of the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy. So this must be the website one off of, I don't even know, Sports Knot or whatever. They have Brock Bowers at Georgia for that at number 8. Drake May's up at 2nd, right behind Caleb Williams on this one. And then Blake Corum's at 3. So you'd like that one. You'd like this Sports Knot here. Their Heisman list, but
yeah, I mean Blake Corum's gonna be splitting time with Donovan Edwards, so I just don't see it. I don't see it. They're gonna be using both of them, and I wouldn't doubt that Edwards has a ton of yards still this season, which obviously that's gonna take away from Blake Corum. I mean, obviously, I love Blake Corum. He's my guy, but I don't think he's going to win the Heisman or have a shot at it even.
Right. I don't know. I mean, it depends on how they do.
I think, if you had to choose, if somebody said you have to bet right now between Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning winning the Heisman, that's your only 2 options, which one would you choose?
I'd choose Arch Manning.
You think so?
Yeah. What happened with Quinn Ewers? He has nice hair, though. I love Quinn Ewers' hair. I'll take his hair all day because he's got a big full head of hair with a beard and everything. But yeah, I mean, if he played like anything like he did last season, Arch Manning isn't going to do anything, or Arch Manning's going to take it from him. I give it to the true freshman. especially if he's anything like any of the Mannings or a combination of the Mannings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Supposedly his dad was better.
Well, I just even if Quinn Ewers starts. Oh, really?
Yeah, I watched that Manning's Places or whatever, and supposedly Arch Manning has better talent than Peyton and Eli put together. And what's his dad's name? Arch Manning's dad. What starts with a C? I forget it. Colton or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
His name. But he's on Fox or something sometimes. Now he got hurt his senior year going into his college year, and he was supposed to be better than all of them. He's the oldest one. But that's his son. Arch Manning is his dad.
Oh, okay.
So Arch Manning is his son, so yeah. But,
does his dad have a big forehead like Peyton?
No. You've never seen him? What is that guy's name? I think it's the Manning. It's the Manning. I'm going to just type up the Manning brothers. Did you find it?
I would look it up.
What's going on?
I said I would look it up, but I don't want the internet to slow down again.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. I'm trying to look it up at the same time as well. Cooper Manning is Arch Manning's dad.
Oh yeah, Cooper. Yeah, that's right.
And then, what do you think about the amount of transfers that were going? What was it, 86 transfers? I don't even know how many. It was a lot.
Yeah. I'll run through some of the stats real quick. So, 71 players entered the transfer portal from Colorado since last August. That's the most ever since the transfer portal was started all the way back in 2018. Obviously, some of the biggest recruits he got this year was actually his son, Shadur Sanders, which he won FCS Freshman of the Year at Jackson State. Then Travis Hunter, which everybody knows, he's, I think, the number one recruit in his class. That Dion got to go to Jackson State, and now Travis Hunter followed him to Colorado. Colorado went 1-11 last year. Dion came from Jackson State, which is HBCU. He coached there for 3 seasons and went 27-6. The class that Dion just brought in since going to Colorado is the number 23 recruiting class in the nation for this year. So, yeah, that's kind of the highlights that I saw for Colorado.
Yeah, that's good stats right there. I like that. I don't know. We're going to get you're the one doing all the stats and stuff on there, but I don't know. There's a lot of uproar and stuff about how he's doing things over there. How the players are going to – I listened this morning how the players are different now than the old school players because they're pretty much for themselves and they want to get the most out of themselves when they go to a program. But with Deion Sanders, he's saying, no, this is my way or the highway. You're either going to listen to what I say and do it, but he doesn't even have a proven track record other than at Jackson State. Now he's at a bigger college, but he has nothing to lose, really. I mean, they were dead last in almost all the statistics. Colorado CU was just horrible. He got rid of everybody. I love the old school mentality. I love that he's coming in there and shaking things up. I love that he's bringing his son in. I love that he's bringing other players and transfer portals over to Jackson State. I actually like what he's doing because now any other college like Georgia, Texas, Oregon, USC, teams like that would not work. But because Colorado has been such a crappy team for a while, they had to do something like this drastic. And I agree with Deion Sanders, and I agree with everything that he's doing over there. So, and I'm liking what he's doing, and I hope everything. I mean, obviously he played for the Cowboys, and I've liked him at the Cowboys prime time, and I've always liked him, and I just like that hard-nosed mentality. We need to bring that back, not just to football, but to everything that we do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think the that viral video where he came into the locker room basically with the old Colorado team and just basically said, "Hey, look, most of you aren't going to cut it. Get out," basically. And everybody was all ticked off that he said that to these kids. But he has a job to do. His job is to win. His job isn't to lose. And all those kids that were in that locker room all had lost. And I think that's what his point was. He's like, dude, you guys aren't winners. Maybe there's a couple of you that can stay and still play, but other than that, I'm going to get rid of all you guys. So I agree. I think what he's doing there. He's trying to make people tough again. And, he's working on these kids. Like you said, that a lot of them are individual mindsets, especially at bigger programs. And hopefully he can bring them in and get them to buy into the team. And I think it's really good. I wanted to bring up too, so they play TCU tomorrow. TCU obviously made it to the national championship, lost, and TCU's favored with 20.5 point spread for TCU. What do you think on that? Do you think that TCU covers that? Do you think that Colorado keeps it a little bit closer?
The only reason why I give TCU the nod on this is the only reason is because it's at TCU. Now, once Colorado goes to home in their first home game, I feel sorry for whoever they're playing. I can't remember who it is, but I think TCU will win it, but it's going to be a tough one. They might be close all the way through half. If not, Colorado might actually be winning by half. But things are going to turn around because all this hype with Colorado players, I think they're going to wear themselves out by the middle of the third quarter, and then TCU is going to take it to them at the end of the third to the fourth, pull out the win, and pull out the spread. You said how many? 12, 14, 17?
The spread?
Yeah.
20 and a half.
Oh, man, that's screw it, do it. I'll take TCU at 20. All right, I was gonna go.
Yeah, honestly, I have a little bit of a different. Go ahead.
Oh, we're kind of lagging, but I was gonna go back to Deion Sanders in Colorado. What is your over/under of the Colorado Buffaloes this season? What is acceptable for them, you think?
Yeah, I think honestly, I hope that they have like a 500 season. The thing is, I believe that whatever he's doing there, it's going to pan out in the end. I think the toughest thing that Colorado is going to go through this year is that their offensive line. They always talk about the offensive line has to gel. They have to be together. And these guys have barely played even spring ball together. And I just think even though his quarterback son is really, really good, I think he's going to get sacked a lot. The O-line, they transferred in 3 different transfers that are now starting. One was from Jackson State and 2 were from Kent State because he got Kent State coach to come to Colorado. But that also means 2 of the guys that are on his offensive line were starters from last year when Colorado went 1-11. So I just think his offensive line is going to suck. And then also wide receivers, they got USF, University of South Florida, but they don't have a real good third wide receiver. They're actually playing Travis Hunter, who's a corner. They're going to play him as the third wide receiver. I just don't think they have enough depth or anybody to throw to.
Nice. I like that. That's a good take. I did not know that. That sucks. But
yeah. And
I just pretty much solidified my pick. So they'll win by at least 20.
Yeah, I honestly think TCU, like you said, I think there might be jitters in the beginning. The first half might be a little close, but I think that when the second half, kicks off, I think TCU's going to just beat the hell out of them. I think they'll easily cover the 20 and a half.
They should. because you're talking to a team that went to the title, and then you're talking to a team that was dead last year. So
yeah,
it's going to take a couple years for Colorado to be.
Well, since we're talking about betting anyway, let's go into the next segment, the sports betting segment. So we highlighted a couple games. We've got. I'll just run through the games real quick, then we can go back over them, see what you think. So we have Ohio State, Indiana, obviously, because we talked about them earlier. Eastern Carolina, Michigan, North Carolina, South Carolina is where College Game Day is at, and LSU, Florida State, which is a ranked game. That's going to be a pretty close one too. So let's start off with Ohio State, Indiana. Ohio State minus 30. And then the over-under is 59. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. It's hit and miss for me, but I'm going to go with my heart instead of my head on this one, and I say that we pull it off, and Kyle McCord shows up in the first game of his life and pretty much leans on Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kate Stover to pull out the victory. I'd say, I'm going to call it now, Kyle McCord has at least 3 touchdowns, and he's going to have at least 250 yards passing. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have at least 2 touchdowns. And it's all up to the Ohio State defense. Their secondary, they're actually, another thing that I haven't brought up, Jim Knowles is rotating into safeties. There's like 3 safety rotation. I can't remember all the names, but Latham's in there. Then there's 2 others that they're just going to rotate all the way in all game. I don't know if they're going to do it all season or not, but at least they're going to do it against Indiana. But I think they pull it out big. Heart is saying they're going to destroy Indiana, and they're going to win by at least 35. Hopefully it's going to be around. I hope Ryan Day keeps the pedal down to the metal like old school Alabama did with Nick Saban. But 56 at least, they're going to drop on them, and maybe Indiana scores 14. But that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, so you're thinking they'll cover the spread and go over on the over-under.
Yep, on the over.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, over.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
You have all the stats.
Yeah, well, what do you think? Yeah, so the over-under is 59. Ohio State minus 30 was the spread.
Over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be 60 plus.
Just to be a contrarian, I'm going to say under on the over-under, but I do think Ohio State covers the spread on that one.
We got to write this down. I got to write this down.
Well, we'll have it on video. We'll have the evidence.
Okay. We got it right here. On tape.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So next game, Eastern.
No, I'm just saying you have
this.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't have any of the stuff. I don't have the College Game Day stuff or the Michigan East.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool. I'll pull. Yeah, I'll tell you what it is here. Okay. So Eastern Carolina versus Michigan. Michigan minus 36. Over under is 52. So the thing is about Michigan is that when we start the season, we really have trouble right in the first couple of weeks of scoring. So, I mean, I know Eastern Carolina is not a good team, but man, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. 36 is a lot of points for us to score, and I wouldn't doubt that Harbaugh kind of plays around and takes J.J. McCarthy out, maybe plays second stringers in the second half. I mean, against my better judgment, I'm going to say Michigan covers the spread of 36, and I'm going to say we're under 52. I don't think Eastern Carolina is going to score very much on us.
That sounds good. I mean, like you said, just go off of what you were talking about. Like you said, Michigan starts slow. I don't even know. I think J.J. McCarthy is really overrated for the season. Like, he has good games, but mostly he has bad games. I don't like him. So, they suck. They're going to lose something. No, I have Michigan winning, not covering the spread. But if they get that run game going like they usually do, I don't know. You might freaking whatever his name is, Blake Corum's going to have a 300+ yard game to be able to cover the spread. So, but I'll pick under.
Yeah, it's a big spread. Okay,
I'll pick the under.
All right, that's good. Actually, okay, and I'm gonna go with my judgment. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna say Michigan's not gonna cover the 36. And yeah, I don't think they will. I think they'll win, obviously, but I don't think they'll cover 36. I got to go with my gut.
You can't change it.
Yeah, I can. I want to make sure that I'm right. We're counting these points, dog.
All right. Next. Who you got?
All right. So North Carolina versus South Carolina. This is where game day is at this week. So North Carolina is favored -2.5. Okay, and the over under is 64. Yeah. What's your take on this?
You said -2.5?
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's gonna be a close game. The Gamecocks versus the Tar Heels. The only reason why I want to pick them, Michael Jordan went to North Carolina. I already told you my sleeper Heisman Trophy winner is going to be that Drake guy, May. So I got North Carolina. Well, Lee Corso, North Carolina Tar Heels. But anyway. And they cover, and it's over.
All right, just to be okay, over. Yeah, I'll actually just take the opposite of you. I think South Carolina. I'll take the 2.5, and then I'll say under the 64.
Nice. Next.
Yeah. Okay. Go Gamecocks. All right. So LSU, Florida State. We got LSU versus Florida State LSU -2.5. Over under is 56. And they're playing in Orlando, Florida for this game.
Two Heisman hopefuls at quarterback. We already talked about them. At Florida State, the only reason why I will pick them, I am a homer. So Florida State, squeaker. How much are they supposed to win by? How much are they supposed to win by?
So, okay. LSU -2.5. What did you say? You cut out a little bit. I can't hear what you said.
Oh, I think it's going to be close. I'm going to be a homer on this with Florida State Seminoles, and I just want to know how close it is. You said 2.5. Is the other 2.5 one? Spread?
Yeah.
2.5. We got to fix this technical difficulty BS. So. Baton Rouge and Florida State. Florida State wins. I want to go ahead. What's the over-under on that game?
56 is the over-under.
Ooh. Battle in Florida State, so I'm going to go ahead and go over 56. Both quarterbacks are Heisman trophies. Hopefuls.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my buddy here is a Florida State fan. Mario, shout out to you, buddy. So I'm going to go with the Seminoles also. I think they will cover the over-under of 56. I think they'll be over.
Okay.
Go Seminoles.
Whoa, Seminoles.
I'm going to pull off the banner here. I don't know if you want to do like like any closing stuff or anything like that?
I have no clue because everything's starting to jack up and all that stuff, but it's like a 10-second delay or something, 5-second delay or something. Is there anything that you would like to say before I close off and sign off?
No, not really. I want to end it so that we can see what it looks like.
All right. Like I always say, love you guys. God bless.
Yeah,
Tip your waitress.